Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our Oracle Analytics Cloud Product Roadmap webinar. This is a quarterly webinar to go over the product roadmap release. It coincides with the release of the product roadmap. So we're happy to have you join us today as we go over some of the new updates that we have for you in the roadmap and with the September release. And we'll just give it a couple minutes to allow some more people to join. While we're waiting, if you want to let us know your name and where you are joining us from in the world today in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. And I'll also mention, while we're waiting for people to join, that I will put links to everything we're discussing in the chat as well for you to access. And this recording will be available in the next few days on the Oracle Analytics community website page. If you go down to videos, I'll post it in there. It will also be available on the Oracle Analytics YouTube page for review. Hi, Matt from Minnesota. Thanks for joining. Michael from Prague, thanks for joining. All right. So if you have any questions during the webinar about anything that we're discussing, talking about, or anything in general about Oracle Analytics, please use the Q&A section. So we'll keep the chat just for any important links that we might want to share or anything like that. But if you have questions, please use the Q&A. Our team is going to answer them live at the end for you. And this is our safe harbor statement. I'll just put this up here. It's just saying that it is the general outline of our product direction. And I'm Alex Toothman. I am going to be your host today. Thank you again for joining us. Let's take a look at the agenda for today. So we're going to talk about the Oracle Analytics community. If you're new to the community, we'll discuss how you can submit product enhancement requests, access the roadmaps and webinars. We'll touch on AI World, which is coming up very soon in the next few weeks. We'll hear from Gabby Rubin about the product roadmap overview. We'll see some demos on data visualization, lines on maps, data column description, and some Gen AI updates. So we have some exciting new features to discuss with you and based on the September release. So let's get started and let's talk about our Oracle Analytics community. This is a great place. You might have found this webinar on the community website, but if you didn't, I'll encourage you to go check out the community website. It's a great place to find all sorts of resources, including product roadmaps, which we have just released. So you can go in and find the updated product roadmap. We've released a little bit a different version to help you navigate what exactly the features are, what they mean. They have linked to documentation, to videos, and anything you might need there. So let me put that, I'll put the link to that in the chat here for you.
I put the link, Alex.
Thank
All
you.
good.
Okay. And also on the community website, you can find the Idea Lab. And this is a great place if you have any product enhancement ideas. You can go and submit them on the community website. You can vote on other ideas. So say you have an idea that you would really like to see in the product that you'd find super useful. This is where you want to go. First, search and see if the idea exists, if someone else has already created it. If it does, definitely give it a thumbs up. You can comment and add a bit more about your use case so our product managers can understand what's going on and why it's important to add. If it doesn't exist, please fill out the form, give us your use case and any additional information that you can give us so we can really understand why it's important to have the feature. Now I'm going to turn this over to Benjamin Arnoff, Senior Director, and he is going to discuss AI World.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Alex. We can move to the next slide, please. Okay, so AI World. So it's next month, from the 13th to 16th of this of October 2025 in Las Vegas. It's going to be excellent. There are a lot of different keynote events. We are going to introduce a lot of new features. You will have a keynote for Oracle Analytics Cloud, a keynote for Fusion Analytics. You will have amazing session with Alan Lee, Gabby, Philippe, Louis, Brett, all the product team. So it's really, really something we want you to join. And then I think on the next slide, we are going to see that during AI World, you will have the keynote also of our EVP, TK Anand. Is going to show the AI for data revolution is here. Is going to co-present this keynote with Juan, which is EVP of Oracle Database. So same thing, very important keynote. Join, you are going to learn a lot about AI for data. Next slide, we are also going to host an event. I think it's on the Monday, so just before the show is starting. We will have the Oracle Analytics and AI Community Happy Hour. If you want to meet in person Gabby, Philippe, Alex, Fari, Jamie, Alan, and more, join us. It will be at the Wakuda restaurant. We will have free drinks for everyone. It's on registration only, so you need to register first. Then you will get approved if you are a customer, if you are a partner, if you use Oracle AI, if you use Oracle Database or Oracle Analytics, feel free to join. It will be, I think, for 1 hour and a half. Um, and you will see all the faces of the community. I know we have ton of customers that are going to join, and we want to see you. Also, do you know, Alex, if we announce today during this webinar the Oracle Analytics ID Lab expert or not?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen really quick if it's okay with you, Alex. I'm going to do like this, boom. So if you go on the community website in the news section, you will see that now every quarter we are going to nominate the Oracle Analytics expert of the ID Lab for the previous quarter. I'm sorry. So here, for example, we have NC Paul, we have Surabi, we have Bala, we have Caroline Blanchard. Basically, they posted IDs in the previous quarter, and they got the most IDs and the most vote for their IDs. And based on that, we take their IDs, or at least Gabi and his team is taking their IDs and push them sometime to the roadmap if the ID has enough vote, enough views, enough comments, and the ID is meaningful. So we are going to nominate the best ID Lab expert every quarter, and we will show and feature you on the community on LinkedIn. And by the end of the year, you will receive maybe some goodies and stuff like that. Okay, so very important. Thank you so much for submitting all the IDs. It's because of that that we are able to shape our roadmap. So thank you again, and back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Ben. And again, I did put all the links to the Ideas Lab, AI World, the Community Happy Hour in the chat. So if you're going to be there, definitely take a look at those links, register. We'd love to see you at the happy hour. So let's now take a look at the updated product roadmap. And with me, I have Gabby Rubin, Group Vice President of Product Management. Gabby, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you everybody for taking the time to join our webinar. I'll not take long. As Alex mentioned, we are publishing for the last 2 years. Actually, we have been publishing our roadmap to our community site. We just expanded that format to include more details around the roadmap to help our community understand better the features beyond just the titles of the features. The team is working hard to provide mixed capabilities across different areas of the product, starting with the data platform, the semantics, the BI server, as well as the visual experiences. And some of those elements we will show today in respect to what's coming in the September update, as well as a bit of a future look into what's coming later this year as well. Of course, like many other products, we have a massive investment in AI, but I would say we do believe that the investment in AI needs to come alongside investing in core capabilities that an analytic product needs to provide when it comes to the experience and applications that all of you need to deliver to your own users within your own organization to make your content much more interactive, engaging, and insightful eventually. So you'll see some of that today. We will show some features that are related more of building better analytic applications, as well as features which are targeting the ways that organization can actually utilize AI within the analytic systems. And of course, if as AI World is just around the corner, we will have multiple announcements there for some new capabilities. And even if you don't get to attend, those assets will be available online, and there is also going to be regional conferences that we will participate, and to make sure that everybody got access to information. I think, Alex, your next slide is just showing a bit on the roadmap. So this is kind of like the format that we were using. And you can see, I'll not drill into specific, as the team will present a few of that, but these are kind of like the key thing I will draw your attention. These are kind of like the key pillars that we are investing in, from administration and management of the services, connectivity, the data side in respect to modeling and preparation, AI and Gen AI, and of course, data visualization and experiences. So I encourage all of you to go to the community site, review the roadmap. Feel free to post your comments to the forum or ideas to the ID Lab, and we'll be happy to engage with you online. With that, I think we can start drilling down into some of the capabilities we wanted to show you today. So, Alex, thank you.
Thank you, Gabby. Yep, and again, I put the link to the product roadmap in the chat, so please take a look at it, check out the new format, and let us know what you think of it. Let's take a look at some of the current features that have just been released and some of the upcoming ones that you'll see. So let's first start with some data visualization and experience updates. We have Avinash Krishnaram, Director of Product Management, here with us today. Avinash, thanks for joining.
Hey, thanks, Alex. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Are you seeing a workbook?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Hey, thanks everyone, and welcome to the roadmap session. So I'm going to cover September 2025 release updates for data viz and experience features. We've actually added a lot of features with the September update. I won't be able to demo all of them, but some of the important ones to call out are the new buttons functionality. Buttons is a new navigation control type that we've added to the authoring experience. I'll do a short demo of how buttons can be used to sort of seamlessly improve the consumer experience when it comes to navigation use cases, and integrate buttons to the whole actions framework to invoke data actions. There's also pages that we released in July. Pages are managed, or custom pages can be created by users with fine-grained permission access. And we have improved that functionality in September for privileged users to also manage pages as landing pages for users and user groups. So you can set a custom page as a landing page for a specific group of users. On the database side, Miko charts are the new one that we've added. It's a variant of stack bar chart. Pretty powerful visualizations when it comes to sort of displaying the relationship between two categorical variables, but with columns. So I'll do a quick demo of that. And then there's several enhancements that we continue to do on table and pivot table. There's a lot of feedback that we've heard from community and the idea lab. So the three features that we're adding in September update is a field alignment. So you can align your header and data values to be left, center, or right aligned. Conditional formatting rules are now expanded to format the total and subtotal header and values as well. And then the most importantly, we have enabled a single cell selection model, which allows the user to, by default, select a single cell value without compromising the brushing experience to be able to sort of copy the cell value. And this is one of the critical feedback that's been in community for a long time. So I'm glad that we've delivered on some of these functionalities. Now let me go to before I go to the demo, there's also two features in preview. I'll demo one of the critical features called shared filter groups. Essentially, it's the saved filters functionality in classic BI, but we have sort of improved the overall experience. And there's also user preferred time zone functionality in preview. And this is supported on subject areas in September, and we're working on dataset support. When we have that, the functionality will go GA. All right, let's start with buttons. So buttons, like as you can see on my canvas, as soon as it loads. All right, let me just quickly refresh my browser. Like I said, buttons are a new Wiz type. If you go to the Wiz panel under dashboard controls, there's a new Wiz type called button bar. When you drag and drop it onto the canvas, by default, we add a button to the button bar. A button bar is a container of many buttons. The general settings allows you to control certain styling and format of the buttons. The more important properties that I want to highlight is the different styles of buttons that we offer. The default is outline, but you can change it to a borderless, a solid button, or display as a link. So in my example here, I've displayed all my buttons as a link. And then there's some custom formatting that I have done in terms of providing the button color, controlling the transparency. You can also add icons to the button. If you go to the button tab, there is additional properties that you can set at the individual button level. The most important one here is the action property. Now, this is where you link a data action to a button, right? Let's just say that I'm going to add a new button and I'll call it Oracle as an example. Now, in order for the navigation to kick in, I have to create a data action. So let's open up the data action dialog, and then we'll add a new data action. And let's call this Oracle. I'll set it to URL navigation type. And I want the users to send, I want to send the users to oracle.com, right? So once I click OK and save the data action, we can come to the action property. And when you open up the menu, you see that the Oracle data action is not displayed. And that's because by default, all data actions are created with the context of data in it, right? So this new property allows the author to now define which data actions can be linked to a button versus a data. Now, if you turn off the requires data property to off, now this data action becomes available to be linked to a button, right? So let's link Oracle to this new button that we created. And in the consumer mode, when the user clicks on the button, they basically navigate to oracle.com. And you can create any data actions type, any data action type, and basically configure it. It can be to a workbook or to a canvas on the same workbook, or to a workbook, different workbook in the catalog in itself. Please play around with this feature, share your feedback with us, and there's a few more controls that's part of our roadmap that we'll continue to add in FY26. The next is Miko chart. So Miko chart, like I said, is sort of a variant of a stack bar chart. So let's go ahead and create a new stack bar chart from the scratch. I'm going to create a stack bar, and let me quickly fill in the grammar with some few basic elements. So let's add product category, a number of customers, and for the size, I'll add something to the color as well, ship mode, and for the size, I'll add quantity ordered, right? Now, there are two properties that we have added. The first property is the bar gap width, which is default set to 37%. This is available on all bar charts, so the author can basically control the gap of the the gap between the bars, right? So let me put this to 0 to create a Miko chart. This is a useful functionality in itself. So we basically have exposed this property for all bar variants. And then the other property is the bar size, which by default is set to apply to the segment. You can change the bar size from apply to segment to apply to stack from the property panel or from the grammar drop target, right? If you hover over size, this action icon will basically allow you to toggle between apply to segments versus stack. When you do apply to stack, it basically applies the measure value on the size column to each stack, right in the stack bar. And of course, the other properties that are available for all visualization is available for Miko charts as well. The important ones being the data labels, right? So you can turn it on, and it essentially provides a view of the categorical relationship, but of variable column with size, if you like. I'm going to jump to a different server to demo the pages functionality. So when you open up the menu icon on the top left-hand bar, this displays the page switcher dialog, which is showing me all the pages that the user has access to. The functionality we've added in September is privileged users with fine-grained permissions to manage pages will see the new settings icon on the dialog. And when you launch the dialog to manage pages, you can basically specify landing pages for specific users or user roles. Let's just say I'm going to select a particular user called DB author user. And for this user, I can set the HR reports as the landing page. And I can also optionally choose to turn off the default Oracle Analytics homepage from their view, right? So let me turn it off. Let's click save. All right, there is a bug in this system, but the idea is that once you set the landing page, save, and when the user logs in, does the subsequent login, they by default will land into the HR reports page, which is set as the landing page for this particular user. The last functionality I want to demonstrate, which is in preview, is called shared filters. So let me actually open up the authoring experience, and I will connect it to a sample data set. So on the data element tree on the left-hand side, you would see a new folder type called shared objects. Now, shared objects basically will represent any reusable objects that is tied to the data source, in this case, the data set, right? So the first reusable object type that we're building is shared filters. And the functionality is in preview, and it's only supported on the top filter bar. And we are adding support to dashboard filters and visualization filters. And when we have all those support added in for this feature, we'll then GA the functionality for all OAC customers, right? Now in preview, when you click on plus icon on the top filter bar, you will see a new option to create a filter group, right? Now think of filter group as a container of many filters. So I'm going to call this a demo filter. And you can add an expression filter or add columns from the data source as filters to the filter group. Again, since the functionality is in preview in September, we only support expression filter, but with November, right, we'll add more capabilities to mix and match the filter types as part of the filter group configuration. So I'm just going to create an expression filter, right? Imagine that this is a complex expression that I added to compute my sales revenue, right? Let me add one more expression filter to this filter group. The filter group itself, like I said, is a container of many filters. To make this filter group a shared object, simply drag and drop this into the shared object folder. Or you can also start by creating a new filter group from the shared objects folder. I would have expected it to create a shared filter object. Looks like this server has some bugs in it. But the idea being is that once you create the filter group as a shared object, you can save it and it gets saved along with the data set in this example. And any author creating a workbook on the same data set will have access to view all of the shared filters as part of the dataset definition by default. Users with privileged access will get access to edit the filter group definition. And any changes to filter group definition done by any privileged user will basically impact the workbook that references that shared filter object, right? So this is the idea, the general idea. Once we have the support for dashboard filters and invis filters, we will GA the feature. And on the roadmap, we are planning to support shared calculations as well, which will come sometime in FY26. So those are some of the features I wanted to demo. So I'll stop here and then pass it to the next presenter.
Thanks, Avinash. Next up, we have Philippe Lyons, and he is going to give us a great overview of similarity analysis, lines on maps, and some of our Gen AI features. Philippe, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Alex. Thanks for having me here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your interest and for your time today. I want to take a few moments. Oh, let me share my screen. So first of all, I'm Philippe. Nice meeting you on the call. I'm working on the product management department with Oracle Analytics, and there's lots of exciting items that we all want to talk to you about. I'm just going to take a minute to browse through a few that already are available since September and even previous releases, all related to AI and advanced analytics. And I will also take a minute to touch about what's just about to come in the next months or so with your new upgrades. So let me start with a few advanced capabilities, such as new algorithm for forecast and geometry capabilities, and then some contextual insights. And I'll come back to this slide in a moment to keep track of the list, right? So first thing I want to talk to you about, let me go right into a live demo if I can get my... All right, so this is OAC, and this is OAC September, so you have access to this already, and that's a completely simple sample data set. One thing I want to attract your attention to is we now have advanced capabilities such as what we call contextual insights that are turned on by default. So I just created a visualization, and whether I'm a consumer or an author, now as I'm clicking on any aspect of this viz, I have a contextual menu that explains, so these are sales by segments, and I want to have a little bit more detail about this segment, and I haven't really prepared this, so let's see what the system is capable of telling me on the fly about consumer segments. So it finds out that according to some cities are selling way less than the average shape. So for consumers, so consumer cities show a difference compared to the rest of the data. And if I carry on, it'll come up with other interesting insights just about that selection, such as trending of consumer segment for sales, which is quite different over time than the trending for others. And I can carry on like this. The point and what is new here is we've extended the scope of this, and by default, it's on by default now. So any visualization that you will get will have that capability turned on. So this is something that you can have your consumer users or author users leverage to gain immediate deep insights. Another quick one that I want to highlight is, let me bring sales over time, make it a line. You probably already know that you can right-click and add a series of different statistics on the data directly on the viz. That capability gets constantly enhanced, so it can calculate forecasts. So it's looking at the results set here on my data set, and let me ask it to calculate 12 months. And it offers me a forecast, but now I have a few new algorithms to use for this. So the one that we're having here is seasonal ARIMA. If I invoke Profit, which is a different algorithm, I will see a forecast that is quite different, because Profit is well known for handling outliers and anomalies differently from other algorithms. And there are more of these algorithms coming in the roadmap, but just highlighting one that is already there in your GA builds. Another feature that is available to you is we're investing more and more in the ability to handle spatial and geometries, both in calculations and in visualizing. So these are airports in the world where I have, I'm from France, so I've selected the one source airport, which is one layer in my map. So you can see I have multiple layers. So the green ones is saying, okay, what is this departure airport, and the pink dots are showing what are the flights that I can reach from Paris over the world, according to some company, or at least in my data set. What is now possible is to build dynamic lines directly based on geometries or lat long points, just like you see here. So let me turn on that layer. And just by having a starting point and an ending point, I can show lines directly on my map from a start to an end. Of course, I can influence a bunch of formattings there, such as, do I want coloring, labeling, arrows? Do I want it curved? Do I want a straight line? Anyway, just plain and simple dynamic visualization for the fun of it. Let's just go and add another one here. What about SFO? And let's see what happens now. So now I'm asking for way more lines, and I can build my map just if I have it bidirectional or straight. How about straight? It's very easy for me to, as an author, to leverage simple lat long data to visualize it in many different ways with a great level of control of the formatting. Not only that, lat long data can also serve into going in advanced spatial calculation. So you may know that OAC itself already supports several geometry calculations, such as calculating area, distance between geometries or points, lengths, how geometries or points or polygons relate to each other, which one is within a distance or another. But what's interesting is we now have the ability to convert a lat and a long into a geometry format. So what that means is if you grab data with simply lat and long detail, OEC is now capable of converting this into geometry type, which then can be used to calculate distance. So simple plain data set can now serve for spatial calculation in a very simple way for authors. So this is more coming with geometry. It's actually all of what I'm showing is already GA, so you can already go ahead and try it and build advanced capabilities there. One more thing I want to highlight that, let me make sure I'm not missing one. Yeah, one more thing that I would like to highlight that is GA is the leveraging of database embedding model and vector capability at the fingertips of business users. So that's a bit different from what you're used to with LLM capabilities. But if I look at a data set, this is a visualization that represents a data set that has multiple records and a lot of dimensions and a lot of matrices. And what I may be interested in is to find out which one or what are the ones that are closest to another according to all these dimensions and matrices. So let me take a live example, as a matter of fact. This is some data that I have with loan data. And, it's lots of different loans, about 40,000, with different attributes such as locations, such as delinquency history, grade, installment, term, how much has been funded, lots of different aspects. And I would like, among these, all of these records, to find out which are most alike to a given record or which are most alike to a set of records. So we now have an ability to leverage behind the scenes vector distance capability. Not that I need to know this as a user, but this is what's going on behind the scenes to measure similarity. And the experience is through a data flow where all I have to do is to select the embedding model that exists in the database. In my database, I only have one. There could be many. The database supports many. So this is mini-LM L6 V2, which has been registered in OAC. And that's it. And then there, I just have to provide the basically the input to this. So they, in a simple way, all it needs is, let me actually zoom so that hopefully the UI renders well in the zoom. What we want to start with, but let's say we want to compare and find all the records that are looking a lot like, just if I'm trying to remember which one I have in my report, 4272, just making it up, okay? It could be a single record. It could be a series of records, not just one. And I would like AI vectors to return to me the top 100 or the top 1000 or the top 10 or the bottom 10, the closest records to this one on the furthest or the furthest apart records. And that's it. That's as much as I need to provide, and I can save this data set. And basically, what's going to happen as I run this data flow is this data will make it in the database, will be embedded as vector, distance will be calculated, and a data set will be created saying, you've asked for this record. Here are the top 100 records that come close into a cosine distance or some other distance that have been set with this model, according to all of these dimensions that you have in your data set. By the way, as a user, I can select which column I want to participate in the embedding or not by just simply tagging them on or off right there. The result, very simple. So now I'm fast forwarding to the result. Let me zoom out a little bit because that's not really nice to look at. The result is a data set that says, what is my source value? So that was my source value. Hopefully you can read it. And what are all of my records and their distance to the source value? So obviously, source value has a distance of 0 to itself. And the entire set of columns that we had in the data set, basically the vector, it's not exactly the vector because vector cannot be read, but this is the data that participated into building the vector. This is it. This is the profile of my source record. And that's the closest one, which is 13 as a distance. 13, there's no unit for this, close. And indeed, it's the same loan amount, it's the same funded amount, but there are a few aspects of this that differ. Very few compared to the next one, which is further apart. That's a way for me to quickly identify in a large data set, according to what dimensioned matrices I'm interested into, which one look alike together. This is already available. It leverages 23AI database vector capability right there, and it gives me the power to control my vectorization. There is more coming to this. I can't tell you how much. You'll see soon about new capabilities that will surface in the product, but this is quite exciting. Now, I'm checking time briefly. I want to now spend a few more minutes on GenAI. Of course, GenAI is it's one of the most exciting features for all of us PMs that is happening and has happened and is growing within Oracle Analytics. So one simple item that I want to highlight that already exists as part of OAC, which is GenAI Assistant is available for me as an author. So I'm not sure that this data, okay, is available for me as an author, and I can ask questions directly on my data set. That's been there for some time. What is new and has been there since this summer is the ability for me as an author to authorize my consumers, I don't know if you can see at the bottom of the screen here, to see the Workbook Assistant. So this is Workbook Assistant for consumers. So if I had exposed this dashboard to my team or to my management, I could also give them access to give them access to the panel of the assistant, and I could even decide that the panel of assistant for my consumers is only going to query not the similarity results, but just a long demo. And as a preview, let me go there and see what my consumers will see. They will access the Auto Insights / assistant panel And in this case, they will see assistant, they will see watch list because I authorized watch list as well. But as a consumer now, as a consumer, I can ask assistant questions right away and query the context of this canvas and get answers. So not only your authors, but also your consumers are in a position now to dialogue with the data. This capability is growing very fast as part of Oracle Analytics. So you expect to see a lot of updates in the coming release, and one of which, and that's my next topic, is what we call AI agents. So what I've just shown you here is a consumer having access to assistant and being able to ask a question to the assistant, to the data that supports this workbook. We're now introducing a new concept which will be in limited availability before the end of this year, which is called AI agents. So let me toggle to another demo yet. An AI agent is a new type of object that sits in between the data set and the Gen AI assistant. And that AI agent, let me open this one, is basically combining a data set. So here is a data set for that AI agent, which is indexed and can be queried by assistant, along with a few other artifacts. Instructions. So I am the author, I'm defining an agent, and I give instructions to the LLM to influence the LLM, like for instance, in this case, respond always with a table, use most recent balances, etc., etc. So there are, if you're familiar with any Gen AI prompting techniques, you can go very, very deep with influencing the agent, the LLM, I'm sorry, with instructions there. These instructions are set by the author. That's one aspect. And another aspect is knowledge documents. So this is data about HR. But I also have data about HR that sits in the form of documents and procedures and policies and whatnot. And there is a document that describes salary bands, work hours, vacation time, what have you, all sorts of documented processes for my organization. And it doesn't have to be HR, it could be anything. It could be definitions of metrics and calculations, it could be objectives, it could be anything. That document can now be uploaded and will participate into an augmentation, basically a RAG process of the user prompt in the UI. So now, as of November, a AI assistant experience enjoys specific custom instructions as well as RAG process behind the scenes. So if I go now, and I need to just recall my questions. If I go now, I can certainly ask questions directly. Oh, well, this is a UI to call the agent, but of course, the same panel UI that I showed you a minute ago in a workbook will also apply. So let me pick a question here. So you haven't seen the data yet, but let me ask a question that is, okay, that is a question that typically can be answered directly with the data. So this should not require to use any of the RAG information. I know this because I know that this data exists in the data set. So this is coming back and telling me, look, first of all, I'm providing you a table because my instructions were to give you a table. And it obviously does a behavior just like it's supposed to do, which is filtering on different values. That's classic assistant, if you wish. But let me go with another example, which is show me employees by departments that require a committee approval for raise, because in my document, there is something that says some raise require committee approval. So somewhere it's saying that, I don't know exactly where that is, but it's saying that there is a threshold above which some committee approval is required. So I'm going to ask that question, and that should go to the document, figure out that there is something about committee approval in the document, blend it in the prompt, go to my data set, and leverage the enriched prompt to generate the results of the data, enhanced by my document. It's going to take a second, maybe, but it should return something that says salary changes over 10% require compensation committee approval. So therefore, to answer your question, I've come up with a calculation of salary change of higher than 10%, and I've counted employees that fit into this. So that question cannot be answered today without RAG, but the agent that I'm showing you is enabling this. So agents are going to bring a lot more precise answer and quality answer into the experience of assistant. I'm personally extremely excited with this. I think the magic of Gen AI is now really coming into the agent experience. So I see the clock ticking, so I want to leave room for the next presenter. There are more features, one of which, let me just take 1 second, and then I'll pass it on. But one feature is the ability to use agents to basically build dashboards as opposed to simply answer specific questions. So in this case, as a user, I'm going to ask a question about some business topics in general, and the homepage itself will be capable of building a full dashboard made of different visual based on the context that I provided to my question, as well as a summary of it and so on. This is another exciting demo, but I don't want to go over time. I have already gone over time. Sorry for this, Luis. Hopefully you have enough room. Thanks for your attention. I think you're next, Luis, right?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Philippe. That was great, and some really great features that have just come out and some really exciting ones coming up. I hope you all are just as excited about them as we are. Luis, thank you for joining us today. Luis is going to talk about our LLM-based column name and data column description updates that we have. Luis Rivas is a Director of Product Management. Luis, thank you.
Yep, thanks, Philippe, and thanks, everyone, for your time today. I'm going to give a quick intro to three new features that were added to the Dataset editor in the September release. We have dataset level expression filters, bulk name beautification for columns with optional AI assistance, and this came directly from the Idea Lab, so it's a highly voted on feature. So we're really happy to deliver this, and the ability to add column descriptions. And real quick, if we give a quick description of the dataset level expression filters. These are complementary to role-based filters. They apply to all consumers of the dataset, and role-based filters will then, if you have specific filters based on role, will kick in after the generic filters kick in. So these are sort of generic for all the consumers of the dataset. And it will support expression filters across the tables in the multi-table data set if you have it. So we'll give a demo of that coming up. And the very exciting new feature is the AI-assisted column name beautification. It works with them or without AI. If we have just provides if you want just to do basic name renaming, by just changing the case or by replacing underscore with spaces or removing spaces or simple things like that, you can just use the toggles. If your incoming column names are highly cryptic and you need them to be expanded, the abbreviations expanded, or misspellings and so forth, then you can ask AI for assistance. And we have a button that you click, and I'll show you a demo. And the prompt says, please expand these abbreviations, make these column names easier for the users to understand what's in the columns. And more than that, it's not only going to beautify the columns and make them more understandable for the human consumers, but it really helps the AI assistants that Philippe just showed. It's I think our goal in the data modeling and data preparation going forward is not only going to be to think of our human consumers, but to also think of our AI consumers. And one of them is, our most important one is the AI assistant. And uh, improving your metadata is going to be really, really important to make those new features that are assisting users uh, go faster, better, and be more relevant to your questions. And there's also a little bit of human in the loop here as well. We can review the names that come back from the model, and if you disagree with them, you can change them right on the fly, and then apply them, and all your columns will be beautified. And the last one is the ability for us to continue to improve the metadata. And this one is the ability to add column descriptions. And again, for this example, I haven't updated or added a description for every single column. The recommendation is that you add descriptions for columns that need explanation. And these will be available for the human consumers as a tooltip in the data elements tree in the workbook. But it'll also, again, help the models, the AI assistant, the home search work better because they'll have access to this metadata. So I'll go ahead and give a quick demo. One of the things you'll notice when you come in to the dataset editor in September is that we now have two filter buttons, one with a little person underneath it, making it the role-based filter. So if you need to build some role-based filters, you would click on that. And the other, which is the new one, is this dataset level filter. And again, this will apply to all of the consumers of this dataset. And to create a filter, you just click on the plus. It'll bring up the expression editor. And again, you can go across the table. So we'll grab customer segment from the sample orders, the sample orders, and we can also cross-reference this to customer state from the customers table, and you can say and pick the states, and then this will apply to this data set, and all consumers of the data set will see a reduced set of data based on those filters. The beautiful name beautification feature is if you go into the table itself for the prep screen, you will see the sparkle icon that we're using across the system to signify there are some AI assistance associated with this. And again, if you just need to do simple casing, you want to uppercase, you want a title case, you want a lowercase, and you want to just handle underscores, there's no need to call the AI help. But if your column names that come in from your sources are highly cryptic and you do want to spend a little more time beautifying them, again, you can do a bulk call to the LLM. We have a prompt that goes with this call, along with a lot of the metadata and metrics that we collected with the semantic profile. And it also has some sample data that goes with it as well. So then what comes back from the model is the beautified names. Notice that every column has been nicely expanded. All the abbreviations have been discovered and expanded, and we do a little review. If you disagree with something that the model sent back, you can just go ahead and change it. And when you're ready, you can just go ahead and apply. Notice that we have the every column name that has changed has a little tracker and the transformation script, so you can track how the names were changed. And we can review all the names in the metadata view and notice that all of my names have now been beautified, and again, easier to read for the human consumers, and much easier and a way to improve the AI assistant in the back end as well. And lastly, the ability to add descriptions. You'll see a new column in the metadata screen where you can select and add descriptions for your columns. And again, this is for columns that need a description, and you can just leave the ones that are pretty intuitive without a description. And this will, again, not only help, this will be available to the workbook authors as tooltips, but also will be sent to the models as they're doing the assistance as well. And those are the new features I wanted to introduce today. Thanks for your time, and I'll hand it back to Alex. Thank you.
Thanks, Louis. Those are some great new features, such useful features. I'm really excited for them. And we are done with our demos for today. I know we have a few questions, so let's take a look at those. And while we're pulling up the questions, if you have any questions you still want to submit, please send them in. As we're doing that, I'm just going to launch a poll. Let us know how we did today, if you found this session useful. Of course, we're always open to feedback to make it better for you. Just a reminder, again, this recording is going to be posted on the YouTube channel as well as the community site. I've also have an email that will be sent out tomorrow with all the links that we put in the chat. So if you need to go back and access them, you'll have an email with all of that. So let's take a look at our questions here. We have a few left. Okay. From Michael Brown. After a column has been used in a workbook, the column cannot be renamed. It breaks the workbook. Is there a plan to allow for columns to be renamed in the dataset and not break the workbook? It would be nice.
Yeah, that's in our backlog, and we understand if you have the workbook open, we do sort of have a way to not break anything. It just the workbook will take in those column changes. But if you don't have the workbook open, so you have to be careful. You do have to be careful with this new feature. That's.
Thanks, Louis. Okay, we have another one from Patrick Koob. Is the assisted column name beautification feature available in Semantic Modeler for subject area development as well as DV dataset creation? Looks like a really useful feature for modeling.
Yes. Previn is working on that feature. I believe it may be going to ship in November release.
Excellent. Another one from Raji Garimella. Can this name change we do on existing data sets and flows, would that break any links?
Yeah, that's related to the first question, and yeah, we're working on making that experience better. But thanks for the question.
Okay, Prasad Raju is asking, do you have HR predictive analytics pre-built content or subject area or data sets? Can you please share any predictive analytic demos or content?
I think this sounds more like a question for the FDI team. I believe there are some models that exist. I'm pretty sure that they have different models for different domains in HR, for attrition, for all sorts of aspects. But unfortunately, I think we need a connection with Manisha and her team there. Alex.
All right. Any other questions from anyone? All right, I don't see any coming in. And oh, we do have one more. Okay, Michael, thanks. We'll just wait for it to pop up here. And while, oh, okay. Any update on allowing attributes in the tooltip?
Not at the moment. It's still in our backlog. We've not prioritized that request.
Okay, thanks, Avinash. All right, and that concludes our session for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, you can catch the replay on the community website. Any of these new features that came out with the September release, the PMs make incredible demos on the YouTube page. It's a playlist. With any release, they always create a playlist for you to review the new features in short, under 5-minute videos. So highly recommend that. The link will come out in the email tomorrow as well. And with that, we will see you for our next session, and I believe it's in January when we release the next product roadmap. So until then, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you then.